and welcome back to Daddy, Dad and Me. Thank you for returning if you have previously subscribed to the channel. If you're new, we are Daddy, Dad and Me, a same-sex couple who recently adopted little man, who's been with us for several months now. Things are going very well. This is really our channel to explain more so about our journey, to share some of our journey, and to share to the wider community and the adoption community same-sex parenting, because we know that there are kind of several spaces for same-sex couples and single adopters to share their journeys, and we really wanted just to kind of show how normal it is and daily lives of adopters, for prospective adopters as well, because we know when we started our journey back in 2018 there were very limited outlets for people, so we wanted to add to the community, hence the creation of Daddy, Dad and Me. So a bit of a ramble there, but yeah, thank you for coming along and watching the video. Today's video we wanted to keep quite light, and it was going to be a video about the day that we met our son for the very first time. Always a nice memory to have. So yeah, come on through, grab a cuppa and we'll dive straight in. So for those who may be aware, and for those who are not aware, sometimes what happens even before you are matched with a child, so just after being linked, some local authorities and adoption agencies will arrange what they call a bump into, or you may have heard them called a chemistry meeting. We were very lucky in the fact that we got to meet little man face to face, but we know some local authorities and agencies, and dependent on the child's needs, etc., they will perhaps arrange for little one to be playing in a playground or a distance away from you, and you will just, maybe on the first time, you will see how they are with whoever they are playing with, and then the authority or the agency may get you to meet them. A lot of the time they'll say maybe not, I wouldn't say interact with them as such, but let them come to you. As I said, one of our bump into, so we had about 4 or 5 arranged in the finish, and that was over the time of being matched. So we spent more and more time with him. Our first bump into was at a soft play area. So the soft play area had very nicely put us in a corner, very nicely kind of tucked away, so it wasn't, obviously, because they can be very noisy places. So this goes going back to very early this year. So it was myself, my husband, our social worker and one of the foster carers, because the other foster carer was bringing little man with them. So as I said, we were very nicely tucked away in the corner. Everybody there was aware of the situation, so they kind of let little man and his foster carer come straight through, so try and make an easy transition as possible. I remember exactly how I felt when I very first saw him. He looked tiny, and I think first of all he was like, who are all these adults? Because obviously there was James and I there with our social worker, so 3 new people to him, and he'd never met before. His first reaction was that you could see he was quite clearly overwhelmed a little bit, and he had a few tears, but one of the foster carers immediately straight away distracted him and took him off to the soft play. So he'd seen us very briefly and then went and played, I think, for about 15-20 minutes or so. He then came back, and one of the advice tips and guidance kind of notes to us was take something along with you that will kind of start a discussion with him, maybe, or even just a little bit of play. So for us, we brought along a toy car, and that worked wonders. We'd arranged the trip around lunchtime, so foster carer and James and our social worker had gone off to the food counters to get some food, and by that time little man had come back and I was with the other foster carer, so I took that as an opportunity. There were less people around. so he perhaps wouldn't feel so overwhelmed. So I introduced the car that we had bought, and the delight on his face, straight away he wanted to engage with me and interact. And that was it really. We just kind of started playing, making little tunnels, pushing it to each other, pushing it down tables, making ramps, and he found that hilarious. So for me, straight away, it was amazing. By that point, again, that's probably about 5-10 minutes or so, James and our social worker would come back with one of the other foster carers, and yeah, James just came along as well, and started playing, and again he lapped up that attention. You could see that he was quite clearly looking at his foster carers for acceptance of us, and obviously we'd met them once or twice before by that point and had kind of conversation via WhatsApp, so we'd got to know them a little bit by that point. So he was looking to them to say, are these people okay? And obviously they were talking to us, giving him the nod that yeah, they're good. And so yeah, we played, it must be for about 20 or 30 minutes or so. Little man had his lunch and we kind of carried on that playtime throughout. What I would say for anyone going through it, just be, I wouldn't say over the top, you don't want to scare them, but be like a CBBC presenter, very, very playful, let's make everything a game. And yeah, he lapped that up and loved it. So yeah, we had lunch, and then little man wanted to go for playtime back in the soft play, and I'll never forget this moment in that one of his foster carers said to him, who do you want to go and play with you? He looked around the table, pointed and said him, which I thought was hilarious. So off I went, and it must have been about 10 minutes or so, and then James came along, and yeah, that was it. He had our attention probably for a good 20-30 minutes before we then had to move on and go to one of the meetings arranged for the adoption. So all in all, I'd say we were there probably for a few hours or so, and it felt amazing. Having seen his profile back kind of a few months earlier and actually being in his company, it felt very weird at first, but very quickly felt very natural as well. So yeah, it's a day I will always, we've got a photo of it, which I'll try and put up in the video, but obviously we won't show his face at all, but I think you can kind of tell from our faces, one, we were shattered because it was an early morning that day, but also just how we loved it. And yeah, so that'll be a day that we'll never forget, and obviously we will talk to him about it as he grows up as well. And he's still got the car that we gave him, which is lovely. So yeah, if anyone does have bump intos, I would say obviously dependent on obviously who the local authority is and what they have planned for you, just go at their pace, because that's all you can do. Say we obviously felt with little man, we could see straight away that he was a little bit overwhelmed at kind of 3 new people added to the mix and kind of who are these and what are they here for. But very quickly you could see how comfortable he got, being a bit cheeky as well, which was nice. So we had a little laugh with him, and then he was really sad to go, and obviously I felt that we had part of us with him and vice versa that day. So yeah, he didn't want us to leave, so it was nice in a way that there was that reaction. But yeah, just go at their pace, see what happens. We've heard of adopters that say just they perhaps meet in a park, but then it literally is a bump into, saying that they're friends of the foster carers, or whoever they are with, and it just kind of goes from there. It just slowly starts to introduce you to that. We had, I think it must have been about 4 bump intos over, must have been several months or so, and there was time in between that. One of our worries was that we hadn't seen him kind of for 3-4 weeks at one point, and we were just worried how he would react, but we shouldn't have worried because he was absolutely fine with it. So yeah, really nice memories of that time. I have written a blog about it as well, which I'll put the link down below in the description, which just explains a bit more so about the day, and how we felt, and that's really it in a nutshell. And it sounds very like a simple, a few hours out of our day, but one of the most important days and say will sit in our hearts forever. Just the day we met our son, and I think, yeah, it still feels odd to say it, but. So yes, hope everything is well and good. I'm probably going to drop down the videos to kind of every 10 days, 2 weeks, just because I want to keep the content going. So again, contact us, daddydadandme@gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, all of Daddy Dad and Me. And yeah, any questions, and even about bump intos or just general kind of adoption, how things are going, and we're more than happy to answer those. Everything is good. Little man has recently started nursery, and hence why I'm going to leave it a few weeks or so, just to kind of see, let him bed in, let that change and transition start and happen. But yeah, early signs are that it's very positive and he's enjoying it. So yeah, hope you're all enjoying the video still. Would love to hear from you. Any comments down below. Please do like and subscribe. Does mean a lot to us, and nice to see the subscriber count going up. So we must be doing something nice. Yeah, all the best, and we'll speak very, very soon. Bye.